up here because someone requested to have a live stream of the meeting, just so that we'd be able to send that out. I'll have this made private here in a minute and just put it out on our prayer channel. Jesse, can you come on up here, grab these and hand them out for me? So this document has all of the numbers that I've collected so far about the project. So just to remind you, we've got three pieces to this. We've got the church roof that has been on our prayer bulletin for several years. Recently this became an issue because we had some water damage in the back here. That would be the second part of the project. And as part of the investigation, they looked at the roof on the parsonage and said that needed to be replaced. That became the third part of the project. That actually ended up being the easiest part of the project. So as you can see there, the parsonage roof replacement is a little over $16,000 to get that roof replaced. Insurance did pay an initial almost $2,800. The way the insurance reimbursement's working is they paid us out a portion of what they're actually going to cover. You notice that we don't have any payout for the church roof. They said they're not going to cover the church roof, but they will cover the internal water damage for the church. So, yay, we get something. I'll tell you a little bit about how they're going to pay in a second. So, finishing up on the parsonage roof. So we did get the $2,800. The payout for the insurance is going to be almost $13,000 that they'll pay us, which will cover the total parsonage roof replacement. Because all of that was going to get covered, we went ahead and gave the roofer the okay to get that roof replaced. That'll be on July 22nd. So that part is moving forward, and essentially what happens is once we get the final invoice from the roofer, we're going to submit that back to the insurance, and they'll cut a check to pay off the rest of what's due there. That was the easy part. All right, so for the internal church damage, notice I do not have anything listed under expenses. So this gets us into a little bit about how the insurance will pay out on these expenses. They did send us an initial payment of $3,270, and we went ahead and deposited that in the building account, and we will make use of that as we need to. They will only pay out for anything we supply receipts and invoices for, and they will only do that as we supply those receipts and invoices. That's okay when it comes to the roofer because they're not paid immediately. We can wait for the check to come in, cut that, and send it back out. If we choose to do the repair for the internal damage for the church, that means they're going to be going through this repayment process. So essentially we'd have to outlay for the receipts, gather those receipts, submit them back, get some money back from the insurance. It's going to be a bit of a painful process. What we really want to do is have them just give us all the money and we'll figure it out and apply it to the church roof that they're not going to cover. Yeah, we can't do any of that because of how they're paying out the insurance. So thankful we are getting money, less thankful for how we have to mess with that. I'll pause there. There's more to go over, but do you have questions so far about the parsonage or the internal damage? Excellent. I am glad that this is very clear and communicating well. So, next piece on the church roof. We had confirmed that the slates on the roof are asbestos. We had them tested. The roofer that we actually have engaged for the parsonage roof replacement sent them to the lab. They confirmed it is white asbestos, so that moves us into an abatement category where it's not just taking stuff off the roof, it's hazardous material, and you have to go through all these licensed and bonded suppliers, which we do have one that can do it for us. In fact, I just talked to him today. He was like, so what do you guys think? I'm like, I'll let you know. Yeah, it's not cheap. That abatement is more than putting both the roofs on. It is $72,500 to get the asbestos shingles off. He did say he's willing to hold the note for about 6 months, but that's the most they possibly could do. I ran some numbers on that. We could possibly swing about $3,000 a month, but that would be 2 years, and he was like, you really should get a loan. So we'll come back about how we're going to solve that. I did at least find out he's willing to hold it for a little bit, but not as long as we would need. The roof itself, same roofer that we've got for the parsonage, can do the church roof for $45,000. Yes, it is more than 3 times the cost of the parsonage because of the shape and size of the roof. It will be the same shingle type as the parsonage. If we wanted to go with a metal roof, which I know a lot of people were excited about doing, that's $145,000 to put that roof on. So let's not do that this time around. Let's just accept that the abatement is the piece that we have to bite off this time. And in 30 years, actually 50 years is what I heard it could be, but let's say 30 years, we'll look at it again. Because the church will have grown by then. We'll have our full-time pastor because Mike's going to appoint him. And so, it's going to look really good in 30 years. We'll deal with that when we get there. A couple of other numbers that I have listed out there. When we first started talking about the damage we had in the back, we looked at the building fund. It had about $10,000 in it. Since then, we've had several large donations come in, about $8,000. And I think, I didn't ask you, but the smaller ones probably around $2,000 maybe. Of the smaller donations, so that would put us at tops about $20,000 in the building fund, which does not cover either the roof or the abatement. So then I started pondering. I mean, the whole time we've been saying, this is God's project. We have no idea how he's going to do it, but we do need to take steps and research and understand. So we now have all our facts. We know what it's going to cost. We know who can do the work for us. We know what money is available to us. So then I started doing some looking. I'm like, what are the things we don't know? So I did some digging on grants. I'm like, well, they pay money for people to repair things. So started looking to that. Grants fall into a couple of categories as far as it applies to the building. I mean, lots of categories outside that. But as far as it applies to the building, it would either be a religious organization that would want to support us. And I say it broadly like that because they're often doing it through their associations. So that I have to interrupt because you're an architect. Yeah. I can, yes. And so, yeah. Long and the short of this, we don't have enough money, and we probably should take a loan out to do the rest of it. My guess is it would be about $100,000, probably a little bit less. And we would probably go through our bank to do it so that it stays under the church account. But yeah, I did look at the grants. There's a lot of gotchas and loopholes that we don't want to be tied to, is really what that was going to come down to. So, yeah, we need to, and based on what we were looking at for if we could get him to carry the note, it would be just a little bit more than that we'd be wanting to do. So we could probably do a 3-year note and have it paid off. It would be a tight. I mean, we'd be pushing it, but we could do it in a 3-year note. We could do a 5-year note and give ourselves a little more breathing room. I don't know what the rates are at, Rebecca, so we'll probably have to look at that. And then I don't know if Mike would have to sign for it, or Kelly, or Grant.
Yeah, I mean, we have to figure out.
That would be interesting because he's not on the church account.
Yeah,
It's Kelly and I so far, this pastor's gone.
so it probably would be Kelly.
But we have to, so, yeah, we have to get our paperwork in order to get pastor off the account.
Yeah, well, that's another thing we probably need to do too.
Is all the water damage contained to the room right back there?
What the adjuster went through and quoted was to repair both sets of cabinets, redo the floors, and fix all of the ceiling work and get the insulation treated in the roof.
Sure, I get that. I mean, like, is the water from the rain, the bad roof, damaging anything else in the church or just that room?
It would be all of that area. So that room and the hallway, because there's also stuff in the kitchen that has water damage in the roof as well.
I personally don't believe it's worth going into that much debt. We were in debt for a really long time. It was really hard on the church. And we needed a building, which is why we took it out. I get that a roof is a big deal, but I think if it's that important, God can provide it for us without us paying that alone. And for it just being that one room, while we do use it, we can always move the things that we use in there somewhere else and figure out a more temporary solution. I'm just not sure that it's worth that much cost for the sake of one back room in our church.
So just for perspective, I actually don't even have the expense for the repairing that internal damage. What I'm talking about is doing a loan just for dealing with the roof. All right. So it's not, that one doesn't even come into that equation. We would actually have the entire roof is going to develop leaks because that was just the first place.
The pastor and is one of the, been on almost 2 years now, and before that, it was the roof being replaced. So we have to do it at some point. We can always have opinions from that. That's one of the codes of having that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you wanted the short of it. We know what the numbers are, and we know we don't have it.
I would get Kelly's input, and then
Yeah.
you can do a final, hey, what do you guys think? And then the decision you can make.
Okay.
And as far as finances, I mean, our church, when we took this on, and then we lost a bunch of people, I mean, it was bad for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We have way more people than we had before. I mean, we have way more income, just as a, you know, on a regular basis than we ever did before.
I don't like it any more than the next guy, and I don't, but I don't know if we have it. It's goulash, I mean, unless Smith can get up there, something to do a patchwork thing to do by us,
Yeah, and even that, because of the angle of the roof, it's actually quite dangerous to get up there.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. If it was a normal roof,
Yeah.
we could buy that,
Which, because of the angle of the roof, is why these numbers are so difficult. Yeah.
Anytime you stand outside and look at the roof, there's single different spots that come off and continue to come off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so old that if somebody tried to get up there and patch that, they're going to damage the other shingles, they're going to come off. One roofer told us, he said the shape of this building and the pitch of it, so he said it's really hard to try just the roof part of it. You would have to just about do the whole thing instead of just trying to do parts of it.
One of the other things the company that can do the abatement for mentioned is that there was another church here in Payette that had an asbestos roof, and the shingles had come off and were on the lawn, and they actually got fined over $100,000 just for having exposed asbestos. So I know that that was a scare tactic for an abatement company. I understand that. Still, it does make you want to do that, yes.
I was gonna say, if you're flying off of the wind, we could just let the wind remove it, but that kind of shoots all the time.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great plan. We can't do that.
Plus, if the wind took them all off next rainfall, it hit the whole building.
Yeah.
Plan for it to be in the right part of the
So you're right, Grant. I can talk on this for a long time. However, we do need to make a decision. We don't need to make it tonight, but we do need to make it sooner rather than later. It would be great, since we've got both these companies prepared, we can give them a go-ahead and let them work on getting it scheduled while we get together on numbers. Let's see if we can have a decision on that by the weekend, maybe. Oh, yeah, he was the one who asked me to live stream.
Those are the most important.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rebecca, that one's probably on you. So, all right. Hopefully we get a good interest rate. He did say that there's, in theory, some companies that would give us a 0% interest rate, but I don't know how to find those. I don't know all these pieces, but I'm learning all the ones I can. All right, that's all I've got today. So hopefully it answers your questions, and you've got the hard numbers that we were able to assemble. So thank you.